Good morning. Sorry about that. Jeez. The November 13th meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiency of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Comptroller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Yes, please note, no protests were received for today's meeting. Please note on the non-routine agenda are items on page 105, items 1 and 2. Please note the following abstentions for the Honorable Mayor Young: pages 4 and 5, pages 6 and 7, pages 9 and 10, item 4, pages 95 and 96. Please note the following abstentions for the Honorable President Scott: pages 9 and 10, item 4. And please note abstentions for the Honorable Comptroller Pratt, page 10, item 5. Also, the President will introduce Sonny Smitzner, who will give us an update on the public safety building on Northern Parkway and Park Heights Avenues.
Deputy Chief, please.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Sonny Schnitzer. I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff for Public Safety in Mayor Young's office. In accordance with our commitment to come back to the board within 60 days of the passage of the lease agreement with the University of Baltimore for moving the police academy temporarily, I wanted to give a report back on the status of where we are in determining the future of the building at 3500 Northern Parkway. On October 30th, Mayor Young convened a community meeting to pull together community feedback on the future of that space. We broke into small breakout sessions, collected exhaustive notes and ideas from community members present, and are in the process of compiling that. Mayor Young has also committed to standing up a task force that will look to determine the future of that site. We expect that will be stood up around the first of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I will direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated November the 12th, 2019, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Comptroller. I will entertain a motion to approve all the items contained on the routine agenda.
I move approval, Mr. President.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion carries. The routine agenda items have been adopted. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 105, Department of Audits, Audit Report, Item 1, Department of Finance, Biennial Performance Audit Report, fiscal years ended June 30th, 2018 and 2017. Will the party please come forward?
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Madam Comptroller, board members. My name is Josh Pash. I am the City Auditor. I am here today to present the Department of Finance Biennial Performance Audit for fiscal years ended June 30th, 2018 and June 30th, 2017. The selected performance measures that were included in this audit were Service 148, collection rate on real property tax, Service 699, number of vendors registered in CityBuy, and Service 700, revenue generated annually. According to the budget book, the targets for the selected measurements were all met. We did have some control findings that I would like to present. Finding 1, the surplus property disposal did not maintain documentation to support the property sales reported. We noted that the budget book agreed to the general ledger, but when we tried to trace it back to the supporting property disposal log, there was not sufficient documentation to support all of the disposals. Finding 2, for Service Center 699, the CityBuy system contains duplicate vendors. So we noted the metric actually counts the number of vendors registered in CityBuy, and during our review, we noted that there were duplicate vendors included in CityBuy. When we did some investigation to check why, we noticed that the CityBuy system only allows vendors to enter in one employer identification number, and if they try to duplicate it, it rejects them. However, that field will allow you to enter the number in a different format. For example, The common is the first two digits dash and then the rest of the digits, but if you don't add a dash, you can enter the same number again, and this resulted in duplicate vendors. Finding number 3, Service 700. The target for selected performance measures for the Service 700 is not reasonable. And we noted that the revenue generated annually, the target for fiscal year 17 and 18 was set at $450,000. The actuals for 17 and 18 was $681,764 and $956,949, which is the actuals were 52% higher in 2017 and 113% in fiscal year 18. Reviewing this, we recommended that the Department of Finance review their metrics on a periodic basis to see if they're actually reflective of actual. Typically, if we find that the actuals exceed the metrics by such a great amount, that the metrics could be reevaluated or should be reevaluated. We looked at prior year findings. There were 13 prior year audit recommendations. 7 or 54% were fully implemented. 4 or 31% were partially implemented, and 2 or 15% were not implemented. The 2 recommendations that were not implemented were related to a sensitive classification study where the Department of Human Resources has to be involved. Thank you.
Mr. Director.
Yep. Good morning, President Scott, Mayor Young, Comptroller Pratt, honorable members of the board. I'm Henry Raymond, Director of Finance. We acknowledge receipt of the Department of Finance performance audit conducted by the Department of Audits for fiscal years 2017 and 2018. The department concurs with the 3 current findings and agrees to the recommendations for correction. As it relates to the 13 repeat items, the Department of Finance made significant progress, including 7 fully implemented, 4 partially implemented, and only 2 not implemented. The Department of Finance takes these follow-up findings seriously and will implement them as outlined in the report.
Mr. Director, can you tell me why the 2 repeat findings that have no action have had no action?
Yes. On page 11, table 5, the first item has to do with not meeting the measure for paying bills within 30 days. We are going to refer this to city stat because this measure does not just include the accounting department. The accounting department cannot pay the bills until they are received by the agencies. So it doesn't take 30 days for the finance department to prepare the checks. It's because we're getting the bills late from the agencies. So we're going to revise the measure. We implemented training videos on how to pay bills, et cetera, but we're going to refer the matter to city stat for additional assistance. So that's why that one, we don't meet the goal of paying bills within 30 days. On the second finding, which is the last finding on table 7, all the way at the back of the report, we cannot implement what we need to do until the Department of Human Resources performs a study on sensitive classification. So once DHR performs that study, we'll be able to use the data to enforce the random sampling. The sensitive classes has to do with additional classifications of employees that would be subject to random testing. We cannot implement that until we have the report from DHR.
Just a follow-up, has DHR asked you for the money to do that study? Because
Yes.
they've asked for money for multiple studies.
Well, let me correct that. They have not asked for funding, but they have indicated that the summer will, that they will complete the report this summer.
Okay, second question. back to the procurement and city buy, can you tell me how many vendors actually use that system to report like sub-payments?
I'll follow up with you on that. I'm not sure offhand.
And while you're doing that, can you give me a full list of all those using it, and also tell me how many get contract extensions or change orders?
Okay, so just so I'm clear, you want a list of all the vendors in city by?
Yep. How many have contract extensions and have gotten change orders, in addition to using it for sub-payments? Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. We need you to come back within 3 to 6 months to let us know what you have done to correct most of the findings. Because, when I was president, that troubled me, and it still troubles me. And we need to work with all our agencies, need to get all of their invoices in a timely manner. When the work is done and they have their inspectors out inspecting the job, if it's okay, they should not be sitting on somebody's desk. So I'll mention that in our next cabinet meeting, because these contractors need to get paid. Okay.
Yeah, we agree. Coming back, will 6 months be satisfactory?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to clarify, the paying the vendors within 30 days was a partially implemented prior finding. The other, and then the DHR with the sensitive class was the other one. The other non-implemented was related to the BBMR had a metric dollars saved from recommendations, and we noted that the metric, the target was based on an estimate of dollars saved from initiatives, and then the actual was also based on an estimate saved from initiatives. And so our finding was that, our first finding was we couldn't recalculate it because it was just an estimate for the actual, and a recommendation is that whenever we have a metric, there's, within the design of the metric, the ability to calculate the actual. And so that was our recommendation for that one.
Thank you. The report has been noted. The second item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 105, Department of Audits, Audit Report, Item 2, Department of Housing and Community Development, Biannual Performance Audit, fiscal years ended June 30, 2018 and 2017. Can the party please come forward?
Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Madam Comptroller, board members. My name is Josh Pash. I'm the City Auditor. I am here to present the Department of Housing and Community Development Biennial Performance Audit for fiscal years ended June 30th, 2018 and June 30th, 2017. The selected performance measures that were included in the audit were Service 593, percentage of activities carried out by subrecipients and city agencies that met contractual goals, and Service 751 with performance measures, number of inspections, and number of inspections per inspector per day. According to the budget books, 2 of the 3 metrics achieved their goals. Number of inspections per inspector per day. The target was 16 and the actual was 15 in both years. During our audit, we noted that the performance measures were not accurately reported and not supported for Service Center 593, community support projects, percent of activities carried out by subrecipients and Baltimore city agencies that met their contractual goals. The reasons why these were found not to be calculated correctly is that the DHCD used significant performance in lieu of contract minimums to determine subrecipient and agency performance outcomes. And also because the current process for tracking subrecipient activities involves multiple databases, and these databases are not integrated, and when they have to combine them to prepare reports, there is a lot of reconciliation, and that led to 2 activities not being included. Additionally, we observed the following control weaknesses related to the accuracy and reasonableness of the performance measures. Service Center 593, community support projects, percent of activities carried out by subrecipients and city agencies that met contractual goals. The DHCD does not have a verification process to ensure that all subrecipients and the corresponding contracted activities are identified, monitored, and reviewed by senior management. And for Service 751, building and zoning inspections and permits, number of inspections, the DHCD did not periodically evaluate the reasonableness of the target. This is another case where the actuals were 25% and 30% higher than the targets, and the recommendation there was to periodically review the targets to make sure that they're in line with the current environment. We had 13 prior period audit findings that we looked at. 4 recommendations were no longer performance measures, so we did not evaluate those. Of the remaining 8 recommendations were implemented, and 1 recommendation was not implemented. Thank you.
Morning, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Madam Comptroller. I'm Steve Janes, Deputy Commissioner with the Department of
Deputy, you
Housing.
have to pull the mic a little closer.
Okay. Is that better? I'm Steve Janes, Deputy Commissioner with the Department of Housing and Community Development. DHCD concurs with the 2 findings and the recommendations. And as concerns the 13 repeat, the one that was not corrected is being worked on. There was a change in staff, and it sort of fell through, and will be taken care of.
Thank you. Deputy Commissioner, to go to that finding, it says that was implemented in 2014 and hasn't changed since. To me, that's unacceptable, especially when we're talking about blight elimination. This is Baltimore, so can you give more reasoning to how one staff change isn't enough? That's not excuse enough for me.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
So what's the reason?
Well, it basically was, there was a whole scale. The deputy commissioner that oversaw that division and the assistant commissioner left. New persons came in, and this one they had several findings. Others got corrected. This one didn't. Will be addressed.
Okay, so we're going to need you guys to come back in 2 months to tell us how you're addressing this issue.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, really, this is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. We should have SOPs, standard operating procedure, for any employee that leaves. Someone can come in and fill that position. And housing being such an important part of city government, we have to have it right. We have no room for error, no room for mistakes. So I would like to see you all come back in the 2-month period that the president had advised you to do, with some real reason why it was not done. Reason you gave was unacceptable to me also. And what your plan is moving forward to make sure that we're not back here again with findings.
And how
I would like to see all agencies come in here with no findings.
Okay, and how we are going to correct that one carryover out of the 13. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Thank you. The report has been noted. As there's no more business before the board, we will recess until bid opening at 12 noon.
Good afternoon. The Board of Estimates is now in session for the receiving and opening of bids. In the interest of promoting the order and efficiency of these proceedings, persons who are disruptive to the meeting will be asked to leave the boardroom. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The boardroom must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. I have the following addendum to note. Department of Public Works, WC 1241, water main replacements, various locations. Please change the bid due date from November 13, 2019 to December the 11th, 2019.
And the addendum is noted.
The first bid is from the Bureau of Procurement, B50005914, litter vacuum machine with a 5% bid bond. The name of the company is Green Dream International, LLC. Does it have a bid bond?
I don't see one. Is there another document in there?
Glenn. It's supposed to have a bid bond? Do you have one? Do they have one? Oh, okay. We didn't find one. Okay. The bid amount is $97,800. That's $97,800. And this is being referred to the law department subject to a bid bond.
You're accepting it subject to verification of it.
Subject to verification of a bid bond.
Okay.
The next bidder is Tenant Sales and Service Company.
They have a bid bond.
With a bid bond. Total bid amount is $87,782.94. That's $87,782.94.
Okay, both of these will be referred to the Bureau of Procurement. The Green Dream International bid is subject to verifying the bid bond.
There being no more business before this board is adjourned.